Good evening everyone. Welcome to my channel Let's Learn QA. In this video, I will be covering some interview questions related to Playwright with TypeScript, and that is part 1 of this video series. I will be covering more videos for the interview questions over here. In this video, I will be covering 10 questions which will definitely help you in preparing your interview for the Playwright. Before starting the video, I will request that please support my channel by your views, likes, and comments and subscribe. I have already created playlist for the TypeScript complete TypeScript playlist series. I have already created. I have already created many videos on the Playwright tool as well. So they will definitely help you understand the concept, and this video will definitely boost up your preparation for the interview. So let us start from there. So the question number one, what is Playwright and what are its advantages? So Playwright is an open source and end-to-end automation testing framework developed by Microsoft. It is used for web UI automation and API testing. It supports programming languages like JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, Java, and C Sharp. Advantages of Playwright are browser binaries are installed automatically, like browsers are inbuilt within the Playwright itself. It has inbuilt auto weighting, which makes it more stable test, faster execution, and it has powerful debugging tools like Codegen, Trace Viewer, Screenshot, and HTML reports. Along with that, it can has the capacity to run the test in headless and headed mode, and we can also perform API testing support. It also support API testing. On the other hand, if you see other tools like Selenium, we have to use a separate library, that is the rest assured. But here, API testing is part of the tool itself. One thing. Now, the next question is, which is like very important questions, and if you answer this question very carefully, definitely it will make an impact on the interviewer. The question is, explain the architecture of Playwright, and this question can be asked in another way, like why Playwright is faster. So both things are interrelated, because the faster execution of the Playwright is only due to its architecture. So the two questions are interrelated and depend upon how the interviewer will ask it. So you will answer. First, you will explain the architecture, what are the different layers that are there in the Playwright architecture, and then you will tell how these layers communicate with each other. So this is how your answer should be framed. So you should be answering, the Playwright has three main architecture layer, that is the client layer, then the Playwright server, and third layer is the browser layer. The client layer is responsible for sending commands to the server. On the Playwright server, it receives command from the client, translates them into browser specific instructions, and browser layer is responsible. This layer consists of web browser, which is Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit, that actually executes the automation action. So this is how you will explain three layers and what are the responsibility of each layer in the architecture. Then we will come to how the three layers communicate with each other. So this is next thing that you have to explain. So this is how the communication and flow of the flow goes over here. So first step is connection establishment. When a test run starts, the client and the Playwright server establish a single persistent WebSocket connection. First, client and server make a single socket web connection. That is the first step. And once connection is established, the test code in the client is converted into the structured JSON format. Then the test code from the client side is converted into the structured JSON format, and then the JSON instructions are sent from the client to the server over the WebSocket connection. Then once the instructions are converted, then they are sent from the client to the server. The next step is, once it is sent to the server, now server will send it to the browser. So next step will be, the Playwright server then communicates with the specific browser engine using the native browser protocol. So that is one thing, because it uses native browser protocol to communicate with the browsers, such as Chrome Dev Protocol or Playwright Custom Protocol. So these are the protocols that directly communicates at the engine browser engine level, not at the UI level. That is why these protocols are faster. That is why the playwright execution is faster. So this is how you will give answer to that question. Next question is, what is auto waiting in playwright? Auto waiting in playwright means playwright automatically waits for element before performing actions. For example, await page dot click login. So here we are clicking on an element, right? But because of auto waiting, what playwright will do, before clicking, playwright waits for element to be visible, element to be stable, element to be enabled, and element ready to receive the events. So this is how the auto waiting works in the playwright, and this auto waiting fixture reduces the flaky test in playwright. Now next question is, what is the purpose of await in playwright? Playwright operations are asynchronous. You are aware of that. Playwright operations are asynchronous. It means they take some time. They does not execute instantly. They take some time. So await ensures execution waits until the operation completes. So await will ensure that the execution of the program will wait until the current operation is completed. For example, we have this program await page.goto, where we are opening a page, like we are opening a page in the browser, and then in the next step we are clicking on an element. So what will happen, suppose if we are not using await, here we are using await. Suppose we are not using await, without await, playwright will continue executing next lines immediately, even before the page loading completes. So here, what if we are not using await, playwright will try to click on the element even before the page is completely loaded. So this is how the await keyword will help us over here. So the next question is, what are fixtures in playwright? Fixtures are reusable setup and tear down components used in the test. So it is like a ready-made functions, ready-made components created by playwright itself, and they are used by our test. So in our test, we do not write code for those activities. It is already done by the playwright itself, and fixtures are provided uh, by the playwright itself. What are the different fixtures that are available in playwright? Page is a fixture, browser is a fixture, context is a fixture, request is a fixture. These are the fixtures that are uh, provided by the playwright itself. Page will give a browser tab. Browser will give us a complete browser instance. Context fixture is used to create an isolated browser context like an incognito session. And request fixture is used in the API testing. And these fixtures help us reduce the duplicate code. It improves the maintainability, and it also share the test setup. So this is how the fixtures are there in the playwright. Okay. So next question is, what is the difference between fill and type? So both fill and type are used to enter text into the text box but differ in their working. How do they differ? Fill, actually fill, what it does, it will first clear the existing text in the box, and then it will like fill the box with the value that we are going to enter in one go. On the other hand, type method will type the character by character, right? It is faster, obviously, because it will enter the value in one go. It is slower because it is like typing in character by character. It is used mostly in the forms. On the other hand, it is used when keyboard event matters in our script. So this is the difference between the two. So the next question is, how to select an option from a drop down, or how do you handle drop down in your playwright script? So in playwright, we can interact with drop down using the dot select option method. So this is the first thing that you should be answering. Dot select option method is used to interact with the drop down in playwright script. And in the select option also, we have three different ways to select a particular option from the drop down. So first is label. We can use label. For the label, the visible text inside the option tag. Label will help us to select the drop down based on the visible text. index. Index will help us to select the option from the drop down based on the position, that is the indexing of the option, which always starts from the 0. And the third is value. We can select a option based on the value attribute of the option tag. So these are the three different ways to use in the select option method. Now next question is how to take screenshot in Playwright. In Playwright, screenshot taking is very simple and powerful. And what is the method that we are used? We use dot screenshot method to take the screenshot. And screenshot can be taken in three different ways. Like you can take the screenshot of the viewport, which is the current screen. And what you will do with the page object, you will use the method dot screenshot. And then you can also take the screenshot of the entire page. Again, using the page fixture, you will use the screenshot method. But when you want to take this entire page, you have to give a flag that is full page is true. You have to pass this value over here. And we can also take a screenshot of a specific element as well. In that case, you will not use the page fixture. In that case, what you will do, you will locate an element like we have done over here, and then you will use screenshot method with that element. Like you can see over here, this is the element, and we are using le dot screenshot over here to take the element of a particular screenshot of a particular element over here. Okay, so next question is, what are different assertions in Playwright? So assertions are used to validate expected outcome in your test, one thing. And in Playwright uses built-in assertion support via the expect API. Expect method is used to implement the assertions in our Playwright test. So what are the different assertions that are given by Playwright? The inbuilt assertions are, that is expect to be visible, which checks whether a particular element is visible on the page or not. Expect to be enabled, whether a particular element is enabled on the page. Expect locator to have text, whether a particular element contain exact text. And expect locator to contain text, which is for the partial text of the element. And then expect locator to have value, whether a particular input have a specific value. Expect page to have URL to check the to match the URL with a particular string. And expect page to have title to check the page title to match the page title. So these are the different assertions available in Playwright. And the 10th question is, what are soft assertion in Playwright? So soft assertion, how do you explain that? By default, if an assertion fails, the entire test stops. This is the normal behavior, right? But soft assertion allow the test to keep running even if one assertion fails and report all failures at the end. So suppose you have multiple assertions in your test, and if one of the test assertion is failed, the entire test will stop at that particular assertion. Rest of the assertion will not be tested. So to overcome this challenge, we use soft assertion, which will help us to run all the assertion even if one of the assertion is failed. And how do you implement? You will use dot soft along with the expect function. With the expect function, you will use the dot soft, and it will help us to implement the soft assertion. And soft assertions is a good way for checking multiple independent UI elements on the page. We can put multiple assertions, and then we can implement the soft assertion so that we can check all the multiple elements on a particular page. So these are the 10 questions which I have discussed over here. I hope these questions will help you to understand the concept and will help you better prepare for your interview preparation. I will try to share these questions, the complete document along with the description of this video, which you can refer later when you will view the video. So I will conclude this video here, and I will again request, please support my channel by your views, likes, comments, and subscribe. And I will come with the next part 2 of the interview question for the Playwright and TypeScript. If you have any other suggestion for me, what type of questions, what type of videos I should be bringing on my channel, please feel free to write in the comment section. So thank you very much. See you in the next video.